Ullman, he's the senior advisor at the Atlantic Council here in Washington. So he says America's open for business. We're competitive once again. The ultimate salesman. Did his sales pitch work?
No, in my mind. You have to realize what was Donald Trump's objective in being in Davos. I think he wanted to present a picture of a president who was in charge and who was reassuring. In the first part of his speech, really, he was a real estate salesman approaching investors to invest in his company, in this case, America. And when he used the phrase America first, he had to put it into an international language, because when he said it, that's a code word for America isolationism, for America taking advantage of other people. And so what he meant to say wasn't quite what he did say, as well as was interpreted. Did he do any damage to himself? No. But did he enable people to think more highly of him or have more confidence in him? I don't think so. I would say no runs, no hits, and probably no errors.
And no grand strategy either.
Well, there's nothing for strategy, despite the fact of having H.R. McMaster as his national security advisor and Jim Mattis as his Secretary of Defense. There's really no apparent strategy. There's another issue, though, Mike. Trump arrived in Davos under a huge cloud. The New York Times, Wall Street Journal had released the story that Don McGahn had prevented Trump from firing the special counsel Robert Mueller. And quite frankly, because Ivana Trump was not there, Mrs. Trump was not there, obviously, because of the allegations about Trump's liaison possibly with a porn star. That did not help the environment either. And so when Trump was asked about firing Mr. Mueller, he said, fake news, fake news. It was not a good situation for him to be in. It wasn't necessarily his fault, but the environment was not conducive to Mr. Trump advancing his position and that of the United States.
Yeah, Melania had gone off to Florida.
I meant to say Melania.
Yeah, I was trying to save you there. One CEO at the event had this to say. He said it was good that he came. He said he's meeting free traders. He's shifting a little bit, but is he really? I mean, he imposed these tariffs on China and South Korea beforehand. He had some veiled threats at China in the speech. He really hasn't changed his position much at all, has he?
I'm afraid, Mike, if you read the new defense strategy, China is looked as an economic predator. Or if that's the case, why has China invested $3 trillion in the United States? And if China is a predator, why did we abandon the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership and leave the influence to China? So I think on the one hand, the administration in this case is viewing China, I think, wrongly. And in terms of free trade, we're really looking at areas where we can have the advantage and not dealing with the international community on a fair basis. And I don't think that Mr. Trump was properly understood in terms of what he meant to say again. I think he was seen somebody who may be a free trader, but only on U.S. terms, and that was not probably taken correctly.
And it's interesting you bring up the TPP, abandoning that, and we saw Canada jumping in. And with NAFTA, you see Canada and Mexico really looking for other partners now because of the. In the end, this may all backfire on the United States in a sense.
What Mr. Trump was looking to do, I would have hoped, was to reassure the international community that America was a reliable partner. I don't think he did any damage, but he didn't advance that particular argument. And now with the United States that is going to be consumed with the continuing resolution, the budget debate in Congress, immigration, which I think there's no going to be good answer to, that government's going to be seen in deadlock, people are going to be worried about America maintaining its role as a global leader. And I think this was just a missed opportunity for the president to make a stronger case, not for America first, but for America as a leader.
And just briefly, we've got about 30 seconds. Of course, President Xi Jinping made a lot of headlines last year. He wasn't there this year, but his economic advisor, Liu He, was talking about how China's going to continue to open up its economy. How was their message received, do you think?
Very well. Xi Jinping's last message last year was about globalization. It was about the need for economic interdependence and so forth. And his economic advisor made that message. I think China probably fared slightly better than the United States because it was seen as a more pragmatic, business-like country.
All right. Harlan, always a pleasure. Have a great weekend. Thanks for coming in.